Well, it seems that a young man called his mother and announced excitedly that he had just met the woman he had always imagined in his dreams. Now what should he do? So his mother had an idea. She said, "Son, why don't you send her flowers and on the card invite her to your home for a home-cooked meal?" He thought that was a great strategy and arranged a date for a week later. His mother called the day after the big date to see how things had gone. He moaned. The evening was a complete disaster. "Why? Didn't she come over?" asked his mom. "Oh, she came over, but can you believe she refused to cook?" Ladies, can you imagine how that would have gone over? Yeah. Oh. So here we are in September, and we're continuing on this theme of infinite possibilities. And today, like I shared with you in meditation, we're looking at this whole idea of vision. Today, after the service, we're having a community meeting, and then we get to talk about our vision. And I can remember in my previous life, when I was a life coach, I had a business here in the Tysons Corner area for many years, that people would come and want to work with me that wanted something different in their life. Typically, they might feel a bit stuck, and they wanted to experience life in a more expansive way. That possibly they weren't feeling like life was filled with infinite possibilities. And the vision that they had for their life didn't go much further than what they were currently doing in their life. And so one of my first exercises with them would often be, let's create a vision. And we'd create it at the beginning of our time together, and then we'd check in at the end and see if it still felt like it was where they were. Vision. What is a vision? If you work for a company, their company probably has a vision. Here at Unity of Gaithersburg, we have a vision. But really, what is it? It's really not a thing. It's a space. It's a context from which we live our life that always calls us into being greater than maybe we ever really thought we could be. It's a consciousness. One philosopher said that the vision that we create, that when we create it, it's the art of seeing the invisible. That which has yet to unfold, that which has not yet happened, but that we can imagine. A vision carries with it faith, because if it hasn't happened yet, for us to walk in it and call it forth requires faith. And it also calls forth our power of imagination, for us to see something in our mind's eye that comes from that space and knowing of infinite possibilities. So sometimes, though, a vision is challenging to us because it's meant to be stretchy. It's meant to call us out of our comfort zone, again, to be what we've never been before and do what we've never done before. And that can sometimes feel very scary, even though what we envision for our lives is very empowering for us. And so I came to the Bible to see what I could find in terms of some examples. And I found a couple of really powerful examples from the Hebrew Bible that I want to share with you. So here we have Moses. Remember Moses? So Moses had a vision that called him forth. He wanted his people, the Israelites, to be freed from slavery. He wanted them to live a life that was free, and he wanted them to be all they were here to be. So, and of course, when I was reading this story, it's in Exodus 3 and 4, if you ever want to read it. Yes, I was envisioning Charlton Heston, standing at the burning bush. It's quite a visual. It was a great film, The Ten Commandments. And so here's Moses, and he's standing in front of this burning bush. And he's on sacred ground. God said, remove your shoes because this is sacred ground. And here's Moses, afraid. He said, who am I to go to the Pharaoh to ask for the Israelites to be released from slavery in Egypt? Who shall I tell them sent me? And God said, you say, I am, that I am sent you. And he said, but, I don't speak very well. God said, I'm going to be with you. And he said, seriously, will you just send somebody else? It was fascinating. And of course, we know the story. Moses got over himself. Actually, what he did was he walked in his vision in spite of his fear. See, that's the opportunity that we have. That when we create a vision for our life, again, it's always bigger and it's always stretchier than maybe we think we can be and do. And that can call us up to really, truly move through some fears that we hold, some self-doubt, and some of the ways we've limited ourselves in the past. And also to work with any naysayers in our life. There might always be someone, I'm not going to really hold that for us, but it seems to be when we're up to something big, that there's somebody that says, what do you think you're doing? You know the state of the world right now? How do you have the money to do that? Or the time to do that? And so that's when we put our hands over our ears and go, thank you for sharing. Yeah. So a vision, it calls us to move through our fears. And it calls us to trust. We have to trust when we're moving in uncharted waters and when we're stepping into something bigger than us. And it calls us to really look inward for guidance. And I can remember it was time for my graduation and ordination. And so for our ordination ceremony, what the staff, the faculty asked us to create was a picture of ourselves and a quote that really spoke to kind of our vision of ministry. And so I didn't pick a quote from the Fillmores or the Bible. I picked one from Carl Jung that said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. To me, that's what ministry is all about. That we look in here to know what we are so that we can live extraordinary, amazing lives, truly knowing the truth of what we are. And I'll share with you that my personal vision is I live knowing. I live knowing what is mine to do when it's time to do it. And let me tell you, folks, that's stretchy. To live knowing. So, what's your vision? What's your vision for your life? Because when we create a vision for our life, it's not based in the past. And it's not something way out here for us to get to. It's a space and a knowing that we hold and bring to this now moment. And we live into it moment to moment to moment. My vision to live knowing, I get to live into that moment to moment to moment. So it reminds me of another Bible character named Abraham. You know, Abraham is the patriarch of the Jewish faith. All descendants of the Jewish tradition flow forth from Abraham. And Abraham was called by God. And God said to him, lift up your eyes. In other words, lift up your eyes beyond your current life, beyond what you currently know, and say yes to what is being called on your heart. Lift up your eyes and see and live into a new vision. So, it calls us to move beyond the past. And I found an article from Popular Mechanics magazine. Yes, I don't subscribe to that. You can imagine that. That talked about, it was from 1949. And the article described a hypothetical computer 50 years down the road. A leading-edge visionary expert of that day made this prediction, that computers in the future may weigh no more than 1.5 tons. So, the point I'm making is that visions expand as we expand. They are organic. So a vision that you declare for your life in one moment, the next week you might be going, wow, that's not alive in me anymore. Yeah, it's organic. And it also calls us to take action. And there's a quote, vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is simply passing the time. Action with vision is what makes a positive difference in the world. Unity of Gaithersburg's vision is, together we co-create a world centered in divine love, celebrating the highest good in all. Do you know that's your vision? So the opportunity that we have as a community is to always reflect on our vision and to check in with how are we being in relationship with that vision? What actions are we taking as a spiritual community to live into the fullness and the expansiveness of this vision? It's an expansive vision, isn't it? Yes. So I want to encourage you to choose from this and all the decisions and actions that we take as a community. When we live from and choose from our vision, we live in integrity with who we are and what we are here to be, do, and express. And this is how we move forward together. So, this week, I just invite you to spend a little bit of time asking yourself the question, what's my vision for my life? What is a conversation, a space, a consciousness that I can declare that I am about that's going to call me up to be all I've ever been before and do what I've really never done before? That's stretchy and expansive. That's the opportunity that we have when we declare our vision. And as a community, the same thing. Who are we as a community? And are we living fully into the vision that we've declared? It's an opportunity for us to grow at a very profound level on our spiritual journey. So let's affirm together our affirmation. I, along with my spiritual community, move forward seeing and claiming unlimited possibilities. Our adventurous expansion keeps unfolding, and so it is.